if you're interested in being a member of Monkey DAO, which for me means being able to join a 3,000 person community of various builders, investors, artists, founders, people who are going to help expand your own social network and people who are going to help continue to introduce you to new things that are outside of your own scope of understanding, who are going to be able to help you build your own project, or who are going to be able to teach you something that maybe you don't even know. Whether that's interesting to you, whether you just want to join a social club, or if you want to grab an NFT that has some historical significance on Solana and represents a group of individuals who are really trying to push the space forward with our initiatives, we'd love to have you.
Before we start, I need you to do a short introduction of yourself. What are you working on? Who are you working with? And a little bit about your amazing work in the Solana ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Nam. I'm one of the founding members and the current CEO for MonkeyDAO, which is a social group based around the Solana monkey business NFTs. So we currently are operating a variety of services inside of the DAO for members, ranging from either grants, venture investing, various different ways of promoting your own projects to people inside of the ecosystem. Throw in some of what I would think are the best events in the ecosystem, especially around Breakpoint, as well as doing basic infrastructure deployment onto Solana, as well as working on open source software and trying to push forward not only the technical capabilities of DAOs on Solana, but also the actual use cases for DAOs and NFT governance specifically. So working on a variety of different things. Happy to be a handler of 3,000 monkeys right now, and looking forward to chatting about DAOs with you guys.
Awesome stuff, man! And you've been in this position of the monkey DAO, and you fought acquiring the IP, and you've represented the group in every corner of the world. Like you are a powerhouse. Like I've seen you in so many different places around the world. It's so awesome. Let's talk a little bit about the word DAO on the monkey DAO. Where does Monkey DAO fit in the definition of a DAO? What makes Monkey DAO a DAO? We know this is a loose definition, and lots of different groups can apply it and claim they are a DAO. But I know as a Solana native, and I'm part of the Monkey DAO, being a monkey holder. But I'd like to hear it from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the classical definition of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, being applied to MonkeyDAO, what we are is essentially a collective of holders around a shared common interest. In this case, the SMB Gen 2 NFTs, which act as a governance and voting mechanism. And we are not only a group with a shared treasury, but also focusing on how we are utilizing either our human capital, social capital, financial, whatever you want to call it, in a way that benefits the ecosystem, using voting as a way to determine what we are doing going forward. We operate with a small centralized structure of both elected and appointed individuals. So I was elected by the DAO to serve in the CEO role, and I have four individuals that I've appointed so far to help me out as appointed executives. And then there are four elected executives representing the leadership of Monkey DAO based on who the members of Monkey DAO want to show up, make sure that their interests are being represented. So we are operating more so of either a hybrid or centralized structure comparative to most DAOs, where we want to make sure that there are individuals who are empowered to make decisions and push forward not only the governance and organization of the DAO, but also various initiatives that membership want to work on. So in day-to-day, I am not only organizing my own initiatives, I'm acting on what membership is interested in wanting us to pursue, whether that is through things that came out of formalized votes or just through various social initiatives that we think would have enough backing, but don't necessarily need to go to like specific votes. A lot of these situations run into various conversations around voting and bylaws, and we can get into any part of that if you guys are interested. But that's kind of the basic rundown.
Good stuff. And which elements are on chain, and which governance platforms and are you using in order to put those whichever elements on chain?
Yeah, so we started out using a Discord-based voting system where one individual was representative of one vote. This has changed over the course of the last year, and we are now utilizing a voting platform that we at Monkey DAO helped create with a few of our different developers. So Static, Dawn, and Tendies have put out the DAO vote platform that should be released for open source use across the ecosystem. And this is now utilizing where one NFT is equal to one vote itself. We also run a treasury that is essentially inside of the Realms software. That's controlled by the current 9 individuals. So myself, 4 appointed executives, and the 4 elected executives, who are each holding a different governance token. So essentially, membership is able to vote on various different proposals or things that they want to see. And then the individuals who have been elected by membership are responsible for carrying out those initiatives and goals. We also run a squads treasury wallet for some things like holding certain NFTs or various things that Realms isn't necessarily up to right now. I would say, are one of the DAOs that is very good at breaking Realms and helping to improve that software stack. And so we try to keep as much activity either on chain through one of those 3 different areas or directly inside of Monkey DAO's kind of like governance portal, which for right now activates a lot in Discord itself.
Wow, man!
I love
I
the
love how you're
response.
using tools across the platform. Like
Yeah,
this is the best way of connecting with the ecosystem and making everybody happy. Like you're developing your own using squads for multisig and the realms for council. I find it beautiful. Like
yeah.
you were saying.
I wanted to pause on that point that on Realms the holders are council token holders, I presume, for the treasury management, correct?
Yeah, so those 9 individuals are basically on the council, and they're the holders for essentially activating on the treasury. We're looking at ways to also add in it so that the individual SMBs, which right now would just be the Gen 2s, but may potentially include Gen 3s, depending on different votes down the line, would also be acting as like broad scale like membership voting powers. So basically continuously upgrading and improving the governance so that the members of the DAO have more and more control and oversight into what we are doing on a daily or a weekly basis, as well as being the ultimate backstop for any kind of decisions.
I love it. I love it, and that's also a perfect segue for a question that I had about the platform that you built, DAO Vote. What were the reasons that led Monkey DAO to build your own governance platform, and what were the challenges down the road to that?
Yeah, so DAO Vote actually has its start in about, I would say, March or April of 2022. So as a part of Monkey DAO's history, there was an original development team that had set up essentially a community budget for the SMBs in general. And in order to access that, they wanted to see kind of proof of on-chain voting that was being done as a way, where one SMB was equal to one vote, which was different than what we had available right then on Realms. So DAO Vote was actually the first implementation on Solana of NFT-based voting. And then we have been gradually transitioning over to that system, culminating in our release of it this year, where we're utilizing it for a lot of different votes going forward. Specifically, we've been really amping it up over the course of the last 3 months, and a couple of individuals like Jess or Web3 analyst has been working on getting some data and some analysis on how that has impacted individuals using the governance platform for Monkey DAO right now.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. One other question I want to ask about DAO vote is: do you envision other DAOs to starting to build on the platform and cross pollinate the ecosystem? So besides realms and squads, which are powerhouses on their own, do you envision more adoption for the platform that you guys built? Is it something that you have in the plan?
The short answer is we absolutely are looking for ways to utilize it with more different teams. We've had a few teams reach out wanting to use either like a white labeled version of the platform itself, or utilize it in some other way. Right now, we're just figuring out the best way to release this where it is complementary to the existing Solana ecosystem, and not necessarily like developing things in parallel to both realms or squads. So that if we're pushing out a new tool, we're making sure that it's as useful and as exciting as possible.
Amazing. Looking forward to see lots of new communities get on board with your platform, and generally we want more people to experiment in governance structures and different kind of voting coordinations. Let's put it that way. What are some challenges that are not intuitive when it comes to NFT DAOs, one NFT, one DAO, one vote, and the challenges that maybe come from the fact that not all holders of the NFT are actually interested in helping the DAO grow or the IP become more valuable, but they just bought into some art they liked and they're holding it, and they're not interested in casting their votes or having their voices heard.
All right, super easy questions, Chris. Thank you for setting those up for me. So this goes into a couple of different situations. One is, how much should an individual be able to impact a vote by holding multiple different governance tokens? For conventional tokenized governance, sometimes it makes sense to put things on not necessarily like a bonding curve, but a logarithmic curve for the impact of holding large amounts of votes. For MonkeyDAO specifically, right, we did so much of our voting, which was based around the idea of one individual, one vote. And that became a problem when people were beginning to essentially just create alt accounts to get around that and to utilize multiple different governance tokens as a way to get multiple votes. And rather than trying to fight user behavior around the ideas of how we are dealing with individuals who are looking to hold multiple monkeys and have like a larger impact in governance, we made the decision to go to something where one NFT is equivalent to one vote. Now that obviously pushes the balance of power towards larger holders. And I think that's something that we as a community have decided is something that we're actually in support of, rather than viewing it as a negative. People who are buying a large amount of, a 5,000 piece NFT collection probably should have a larger say over the push forward through, like what is actually going on. When I vote in MonkeyDAO, I'm using the 10 Gen 2s that I hold to vote, right? I want to make sure that my voice is being heard for initiatives that I view as important. The flip side of that is with SMBs being relatively valuable, a lot of these things are locked away in ledgers, are in people's cold storage. It's not necessarily in places where it's easy for them to vote or necessarily where they want to connect a wallet to a new program in order to do voting, whether that's realms, whether that's squads, whether that's DAO vote. So we are working through a variety of different things where even though we have voting delegation, still getting people to begin voting in DAO governance is relatively difficult. And that's even with, some pretty low quorums that we have instituted for votes in the bear market. A lot of individuals right now, are either not actively participating in discussions or governance, or are, maybe only using a couple of their different SMBs right now in order to vote on things. So we are seeing a situation where we really want to figure out how we amplify people's involvement in governance as much as possible without going into the realm of how are we bribing people to vote, right? Trying to balance out into the ideas of we want people to participate, but we don't want them to only be participating for financial or social gain, even if that's maybe the reasons why they joined the DAO in the first place. So we're looking into different programs to incentivize people to either hold more of these NFTs and vote with those NFTs, or just for those who are existing holders to start using their voice that they do have more regularly inside of governance. We see a lot of times where, I don't know about for you guys, but I often see a lot of discussions about what Monkey DAO should or shouldn't be doing inside of various social media platforms. And I usually see it discussed a lot more than what actual votes on chain have ended up being. There's a lot of people, even outside of the DAO or maybe inside of the DAO, who are willing to give their opinions around like what these groups should be doing, but aren't actually following through and doing the very important step in my mind, which is actually making sure their voice is being heard on chain.
And I assume that you are trying to incentivize, as you said, not without a financial carrot on the stick, but also you don't want to lower quorum anymore, because that's always an option. Since you see like a reduced participation, lowering quorum is always an option. You just want to avoid such a thing. You want even higher participation. Is
Yeah,
vote delegation something that a permanent delegation or long-term delegation, something that could potentially solve this problem? I am not an active
yeah,
monkey.
the
I hold my monkey. I'm proud of my monkey. I'm farming bananas, but be very happy to delegate my vote to you, which I trust you are actually working for the good of the IP. Is this something that would possibly solve the problem?
yeah, we've obviously run into situations where low vote quorums mean that we can, see relatively large changes to, the collection or the goals of Monkey DAO going forward, um, with relatively low numbers of people being engaged in voting, and that's not necessarily something that is a good thing, right? If only 10% of monkeys are voting on something and we're making drastic changes, especially, for you guys, I'm sure you've seen for the setting up of DAOs, things that could have, legal consequences down the line. We want to make sure that as much of the DAO's interests are being represented as possible. And low governance quorums are a problem around there. The potential ways to do permanent delegation or optional delegation to individuals, like you're using me as an example, Chris, is a solution to essentially artificially bump up the quorum requirements. So that would mean, if 5% of votes are being delegated to me, then maybe I have an outsized voice inside of governance around what we should be doing versus what I would really want to see, which is those 5% of people taking more of an active role in an idea inside of Monkey DAO's governance going forward. It essentially lowers like the top end, I would say, of what it means to participate in governance, where every vote that's being delegated is probably someone who is, checking out of the governance process, for lack of a better word, choosing to, rather than actively engage with it, just delegate their vote to another individual. And the question really is that better or worse than that individual not participating in governance at all? So I think we're definitely looking at ways for users to delegate. Recently, in some of the proposals and votes that we have had, we've actually started to see the ideas of like voting blocks occur where multiple users are delegating their votes to various different individuals to vote, in certain ways. So I think you'll probably see more tools around vote delegation, especially as quorums and participation looks to remain somewhat low right now. So that it's on our list to develop and to get implemented.
Yep, I think that experimenting with delegation, experimenting with the tiers of proposals where different criteria can be applied on who votes, which if delegation can participate or not. It's a cool roadmap. It's a cool roadmap, and it's important for all those DAO tooling builders to coordinate to actually brainstorm ideas and make sure they do not overlap their builds, and they make sure to use each other's tools. So yeah, I'm very very excited about the platform you're building. Looking forward on trying it out. Are you part of any other DAOs? Like moving away from what you're building, are there any other Solana or non-Solana DAOs which you are part, or you like? You think that they're doing a good job, even if you're not part of them?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple that I can talk about right now. So probably one of the main ones that I'm a part of is the SPL governance kind of like multi-sig or DAO for the actual like realms and tokens upgrades. I've been a part of that and a voting member for the last few months. The other active DAOs that I'd say that I'm definitely a part of right now is obviously LaDAO, which is an art-based collective focused around basically just like how we can support not only the artists but also the collector scene for one-on-one and edition-based art on Solana. Recently, I helped a bit with the Kets DAO formation and setup as a community have been taking over the project. That was a massive thing to be able to help and just to give my opinions and insights into. I'm a member of the Grape DAO. I think I still need to get my token to get set up into the Dean's List organization. And there's probably a few different DAOs that I am forgetting right now. And as well, I'm one of the token holders for the Bonk multisig for that token's Realms treasury.
I was expecting you also to list the Monkey Ventures. I thought, is this a sub DAO of the Monkey DAO? Does this operate as a DAO of itself? Uh,
Yeah, so that's the conversations around like what we view as DAOs or sub DAOs, brands, teams, which I think a lot of us is figuring out. So Monkey Ventures is headlined by Jemmy Jam and a couple of other individuals where they are actively running the venture syndicate part of it. It's under the purview, I guess, of Monkey DAO in general, and it's a way for members of the DAO to be able to invest in early stage deals and opportunities, mostly focusing on Solana, but also other ecosystems. So I wouldn't say I'm an active governance member of Monkey Ventures. I definitely am a participant, though.
I think that's a there is some meat to that. What's the story and how it is for a DAO to have a venture arm, branch, however we're gonna call it? What are the challenges there, and what's so awesome about it? Because I'm sure that all of us have thought about having a DAO that can venture and have find deals for its members and maybe become profitable, which is rather rare in this line of business, to put it lightly. So
Yeah, Monkey Ventures is a syndicate being run as an opt-in service for members of Monkey DAO. So early on, there was a variety of different individuals who were either angeling into various investments into the ecosystem, or saw that they were members of funds or maybe limited partners that were performing investments into the ecosystem. And so Monkey DAO had the opportunity, through the help of a few of its different members, to set up a syndicate that is essentially operating as a way for members of Monkey DAO to invest. So through there, we've set it up as a Singaporean entity. There's obviously a lot of legal complexity about opt-in investment opportunities versus guaranteed investment opportunities. So we've gone the route of making it so that each member has to be an active participant that is choosing to invest their funds into individual deals or not, rather than what I think a lot of teams try to do, which is create shared investment pools to be distributed and then rewards to be shared amongst a bunch of individual members. So we are purely just providing essentially like the package and the wrapping for users to invest in various different opportunities. They're ultimately the ones making decisions with their own capital, but whether or not they want to invest into certain products. And we're basically just continuing to provide that as an opportunity and a service. We're presenting these chances for members to become strategic investors in various different companies and deals. but we're not actually operating the fund for them to invest passively inside of it. Based on a lot of our legal conversations, and obviously this is a continuing updating group. And I am not a lawyer in any jurisdiction, so do not take this as legal advice. We view the idea that having this as a wrapper for members to choose to invest in, where we are not directly responsible or promising them returns based around usage of their funds, is a way to operate ethically inside of the space, in a way where we're able to give people these opportunities without having to manage the money for them in any specific like client or owner relationship.
So in
Christopher
order
saying,
for a monkey to be eligible to participate in Monke Ventures, of course, they need to be a holder. Do they need to be an active DAO member? Is there or they just need to go through the paperwork, as we said, the legal paperwork in order to ethically be participating in that pooling of funds?
Yeah, so they need to be not only a member in good standing of MonkeyDAO, they need to opt in to be a member of Monkey Ventures. They need to pass some very basic understanding of KYC and financial requirements so that they understand what they are getting into the Monkey Ventures process. And then they have to actively choose to be involved in deals, whether that is initial presentations or pitches from potential companies for them to invest into, as well as in the active conversations of representing that they are interested and they want to commit their own capital into these various different opportunities. So it's very much a situation where it's not a way for people to passively invest or profit off of things that the DAO is providing. They have to be active. They have to be taking the opportunities to learn and make decisions for themselves. And that's the way that we've really found that we can operate Monkey Ventures going forward.
It's pretty awesome, and in my mind, it's one of those dreams syndication, a legal syndication where everything is easy and you can pull money in smart contracts in decentralized treasuries and work just like a DAO without any financial and legal implications. Do you see a future where Monke Ventures and any other kind of Web3 crypto investment syndicate can work as a DAO using decentralized technology and the open ledger and treasuries? Are we heading there, or are we gonna constantly have these legal hurdles constantly blocking our way?
Yeah, I think you are always going to run into conversations around, like, especially for MonkeyDAO, which has always strived and taken out as many conversations as possible to be on the right side of any potential legal complications. And especially as regulations continue to evolve and grow, it's always going to be a struggle to maintain and adapt to those. So we work directly with a partner called Unique VC, which was doing a demo last year in Breakpoint, actually for the start of some updated software for Monkey Ventures. And we wanted to be able to show off, what it means to actually be a part of a deal from any different stage and any different area to be involved with. I think the way that we saw the evolution of ICOs into like leads around venture investments around NFT projects or any of these other areas, like the online method of being able to very quickly and easily send funds, invest inside of various different areas, and like be easily able to take in people regardless of where they are geographically, assuming that they're obviously operating ethically in some way, shape, or form, is something that's worth pursuing and worth continuing to showcase to regulators that this is something that we are doing in good faith, and it's not shadowy pools of money investing in illegal businesses. Like, these are a group of educated, understanding individuals who are using their own funds to try to invest in companies building the future. And I think that's a fight worth taking. It's never going to be easy, but it's always worth doing.
For sure, for
I think
sure.
I think it's a huge how can I say, it's a huge step towards the right direction. I think the Monkey DAO has, like, Monkey Ventures has pioneered this in the Solana ecosystem. You are the biggest, and I think this is one of the most attractive. Uh, I'll put it in quotation marks, sub DAO of the Monkey DAO, as well as your awesome events around the world. So, if someone wanted to join the Monkey DAO, what are the reasons behind joining? Like, how can someone be involved, and which are the areas that draw the most attention for new members? And how do you recruit? How are you going to make that quorum go higher?
Yeah, absolutely. So the importance is to understand there's currently the two levels of membership, which is either owning the Gen 2 SMBs or the Gen 3 SMBs. The Gen 2 SMB NFTs are what we're using for representing like the voting governance mechanism of MonkeyDAO. There has been a lot of conversations about whether or not to include Gen 3s as a voting token, but those haven't reached a state where I think the DAO is in agreement on the path that it wants to push forward as of yet. If you're interested in being a member of MonkeyDAO, which for me means being able to join a 3,000 person community of various builders, investors, artists, founders, people who are going to help expand your own social network, and people who are going to help continue to introduce you to new things that are outside of your own scope of understanding, who are going to be able to help you build your own project, or who are going to be able to teach you something that maybe you don't even know. Whether that's interesting to you, whether you just want to join a social club, or if you want to grab an NFT that has, some historical significance on Solana and represents a group of individuals who are really trying to push the space forward with our initiatives, we'd love to have you. We don't make any distinctions right now between the Gen 2 and Gen 3 members, other than trying to push some benefits and some priorities towards the Gen 2 holders to represent not only the fact that it is a smaller collection, but it was also the first one that's a part of MonkeyDAO. But we're continuously looking to evolve it, whether it's encouraging members to start pushing their own proposals together. We recently pushed out a funding initiative where any member of MonkeyDAO could submit an idea for up to $25,000 worth of funding, with a $5,000 reward upon successful completion. So we're looking through the first implementation of that right now with kind of this Mega Monkey initiative. This is going off topic. Basically, if you have ideas and you want to do something with MonkeyDAO, we will be able to help you make it happen. And for me specifically, I'm really trying to spend these next few months making it so that there's as much power in the hands of membership as possible to utilize both the social capital, the financial capital, and the position that MonkeyDAO has inside of the Solana ecosystem to really make some cool things happen. MonkeyDAO needs more individuals who are interested in continuing to push things forward. We have had a very talented group of contributors and a variety of different people who are dedicating a ton of their time and their energy into making the DAO a success. And we want to continue to grow that team so that not only is it easier for everybody to be involved, but also so that we can just continue to find new ideas and new opportunities that maybe we're missing because we don't have the subject matter expertise, or maybe we don't have the ideas just yet of what they should be. So we are actively looking for people to join MonkeyDAO. We're willing to help you with your ideas. We're willing to fund you, and we'd love to see you at any of the events. I guess that's my pitch for right now. I think I gotta tighten that up to a 60-second one.
I mean, you're doing so many things.
Yeah.
It's super hard to actually condense it. The question, the follow-up question on what you said has to do with, again, does MonkeyDAO prefer a passive holder of... No, I'll put it in a different way. Would the MonkeyDAO prefer for the passive holders to sell their monkeys in order to get active, like potentially more active monkey holders, so that, let's say, the floor price drops a little bit, sure, Not great for the actual holders, but that's a way for newcomers to join and maybe they will be active. Or it's fine even if you are a completely passive member, you're holding your monkey because you like the art, because it reminds you of a bull market you participated a couple of years back, but you are not willing to participate. What's the preferred avenue?
Well, I think first of all, if I ever recommend selling monkeys, I think I'll get crucified by the community. So I'm not falling into that trap, Chris. You're not getting me this way. Um, but what I would say is the counterbalance to aggressively marketing ourselves towards project founders, towards people who are busy inside of the space, is that they have other things going on. And that's not a negative. And that's not a negative to view people as not being interested in Monkey DAO or having various other commitments that mean that they can't spend time working on events or initiatives like that's a very positive thing when your holder base is very busy and is focused on developing things, maybe because it means that's the definition of diamond hands because they're just not going to put themselves in a situation where they ever need to sell. But what I would say is we actively want to get more of, let's say, the holders who right now come on purely a social level or are just interested in representing the PFP or talking in Discord or being active on Twitter or going to a couple of events a year. What we really want to do is get those people who have made Monkey DAO in some way, shape, or form a part of their Web3 identity. We want to help empower them so that any ideas that they have that can start to help to improve the DAO, they have the ability to do that going forward. So I would say rather than like trying to, I don't know, recycle inactive members for more active members, my goal is definitely getting it to the point where right now, our current semi-active members become a lot more active. And I want to aggressively pursue things that will help in that regard because I think rather than trying to compete with a ton of other projects right now inside of the space for individuals who are leaders inside of their respective fields. What I want to do is instead of having to try to convince everybody who owns Mad Lads or Claynosaurs or Famous Foxes or any of these other NFT collections that instead they should be buying monkeys, I would rather get to the point where the people who already have monkeys feel more supported and more empowered to do things that they want to inside of the ecosystem.
That's a great answer. I want to ask you two related questions on this. You mentioned the initiative that you have about providing funding to members that want to propose something, and the second part of that is being somewhat viable. Owning a monkey is considered the holy grail of owning a Solana NFT. Is that do you consider that as a small barrier for people to join? And for when I say people, I'm not saying regular holders that like Chris mentioned, but more valuable and more skilled persons and people that want to participate in DAOs and do stuff and push forward and have their own initiatives and help the group, help the DAO, the organization do more great stuff. So one part of the question is a little more detail about the initiative that you had. I think you called it the Mega Monkey, and then do you consider the high value of owning a monkey a barrier for skilled people or some people to enter the DAO and unlock their potential in helping pushing the organization higher?
Yeah, you've definitely seen like over the course of the SMB Gen 2's lifetime, these are things that minted for $70. They got up to being worth 60,000 at one point in time, and then all the way down to being worth 2,000. Right? Like, regardless of where you are inside of that cycle, that something somewhere in there is too expensive for somebody to purchase. Um, so an expensive NFT is not necessarily the best thing for getting members into Monkey DAO. And that's one of the reasons that we went with the Gen 3 initiative, where we wanted to create a higher supply where we would be able to bring in new members so that they would be able to experience Monkey DAO and figure out areas that they wanted to participate, ideally without having to pay, anywhere from between 80 to 250 Solana for an NFT, which for many people is too much, especially for people, who are interested in building something for themselves in the ecosystem. Maybe they don't have, just a ton of capital available on Sol right now. Maybe they're heavy in ETH or Bitcoin. Like, it's not necessarily people don't have the money for an NFT, but maybe they just don't view that as a smart investment right now. And rather than pricing them out entirely, I would much rather get into an idea where they feel like they have an entry into Monkey DAO that makes sense for them. That obviously runs counter to some people's ideas of whether or not these things should be very expensive, whether or not they should be very exclusive. Those just aren't the ideas that I hold. I would rather get to the point where there is the high-end digital artifact that is the SMB Gen 2, and there is the much more affordable social membership that represents the SMB Gen 3. To answer kind of the other question in there, I'd really want to get to the point where anybody who has the skill set to be a part of Monkey DAO can participate in these initiatives. So we started something called the Put Your Monkey Where Your Mouth Is. That was an initiative started by a member called Jam that got voted through a variety of the proposal and vote process, where any individual would be able to put up an idea, and if the DAO voted for it as the one we wanted to pursue, the DAO would provide funding and a reward to that individual for the successful implementation of it. So the one that won was done by a monkey named Watt Rabbit, and it's called the Mega Monkey Initiative. So it's designed to reward people who are holding a variety of NFTs. The number that was chosen was 5 SMB Gen 2s, but I believe it's also being extended to 50 of the SMB Gen 3s because there is a pretty substantial price difference between those. And what the goal of this basically is, we know that in this area of a bear market, there are going to be individuals who are making deep, high conviction bets. And so if they're choosing to bet on Monkey DAO or SMBs, we should be at least tailoring some of our activities towards rewarding them and getting them to be excited about Monkey DAO in general. That doesn't mean that we ignore members who only hold one, SMB NFT, but it doesn't mean that we figure out ways where we can do these kind of like non-extractive rewards to people who are holding multiples. So we're really trying that out right now. It's in the process of being implemented. I believe some of the milestones have already been completed, and we're just looking to see from this initiative if that continues to improve the number of individuals who are purchasing multiple SMBs and taking more of an interest into the DAO, which we believe will also help improve voting quorums and various other metrics for DAO success. But this is going to be, the first draft of, we will put up funding for DAO membership to come up with ideas and execute and implement things themselves as like a formalized program. We've done it for various different ways for, things like starting up our validator for Monkey DAO, for the initial setups for the Build with Monkey DAO program, for grants, for Monkey Ventures itself, for the newsletter or the Monkey Monday Spotlight that we do. It's not a new process of Monkey DAO wants to support things that its membership are doing, but this is the first time that we've had a formal process of propose, get given funding, perform a certain number of milestones, and then you get a reward at the end of it. And that's where I think we want to continue to evolve and expand to, where we can more accurately just work directly with our membership on these style of initiatives, because it's probably going to do a much better job of democratizing the process of where do we spend a lot of our time, and also improving the process of let's get more active contributors to be working on these things.
You are heading like one of the most important Solana DAOs. You are one, like, Monkey DAO is the success story, and is a minority, meaning like most NFT collections that try to transition into a DAO failed in their journey. Like, maybe failure is too hard of a word, but yeah, it sums up what where we are now. What's the advice? What's your advice to the NFT collection that wants to transition to a DAO structure that will pursue value? What are the steps? What are the steps from centralization to decentralization? What was different with Monkey DAO? And do you think this is a a process that can be recreated by any other DAO, or this was something unique that happened with Monkey DAO?
Yeah, it's worth noting that Monkey DAO was unique in both like the time of when it happened and for a variety of different reasons, right? Like Monkey DAO was formed right at the start of the Solana NFT bull run. We started kind of the genesis of these conversations in early August. We had formalized the DAO and started it in the end of August 2021. September, October, NFTs went crazy and projects just kept coming out. So we had a benefit from being early in that process, from having a very high percentage of individuals look at us as an early DAO and as something to aspire to be to and to be a part of. So, you know, part of it is timing, which is an unfortunate thing to, to kind of say in order to give to these other collections. A part of it is also how the original SMB team presented these NFTs, brought people into the community, how members of Monkey DAO, myself included, like specifically targeted certain devs, certain people who we knew were leaders in the space and brought them into the DAO. So with all of that as caveats, what I would say is the important thing for an NFT collection wanting to pursue a DAO as its member of ownership is identifying who your voting and stakeholder base is. Getting to the point where you have a clear understanding of who is actually going to actively participate not only in the governance basis of your DAO, but is also going to participate in executing and implementing and pushing things forwards. Because that is, voting is only one side of it. You are, in order for this to be a DAO, if you're not just executing smart contracts automatically, you are going to have the human capital of people who are going to put in time and effort. And what I think all DAOs, Monkey DAO is not immune to this either, have struggled with is proper rewards, incentivization metrics, and ways to make people feel appreciated and valued for the things that they are doing. So that would be the starting point. And until you have a very clear understanding of these are my members, these are the people who are going to do things, and these are how we're going to make sure that they are incentivized to continue inside of this DAO and to work to drive value back towards its members, I wouldn't even start the conversation, because I think the unfortunate part is a lot of these projects hand over responsibility of things to the community without the community having a clear understanding of who is supposed to be doing things. What does it mean for this project to be successful or unsuccessful? And where do you turn if things start to run into problems? You're always going to run into interpersonal communication problems. You're going to run into technical issues. You need to make sure that there's a very clear and easy to understand of how do we start, where are we going, and as long as there's like a guiding mission of this is what we want to do, then you can go get back on track on things, and you can return to working on the things that excite you about the DAO. But I think for a lot of projects, and Monkey DAO has also been in this situation, finding that identity and finding the reason that you work on these things, day in and day out, is very, very important. And there's always a small number of individuals who do a large amount of work. This is true for companies, this is true for social clubs, this is true for DAOs. You're always going to have people who you need to make sure remain a part of your DAO in order for it to continue to succeed and continue to grow. And I think the unfortunate part is we view a lot of these DAOs in the course of the last 2 years of the bear market for NFTs, and a lot of very high functioning individuals have just left the space. It's not necessarily a failure of the DAO or a failure of the NFT project if these very, important individuals, not important in terms of like social capital maybe, but important in terms of like being the glue and executing these things, have had to go focus on other areas or started other projects that, had a better understanding of like what they were going to do with their time. That's going off into too far of a tangent, I think, for your question. But when people always view like whether or not these projects have succeeded or failed, I think that's always worth looking in mind of, is it because of structural problems? Is it because of individual problems? Or, were they just not set up for success to begin with?
I like how you presented. Yeah, it was timing, and we had some really good people. And yes, the Pareto principle of 80% of your work is done by 20% of your council members or whatever still holds. But yeah, let's remind the people that maybe are not aware of the Monke DAO history that you had a huge battle that you actually won with intellectual property and not being part of the original team creating the NFTs and not having the revenue going straight to your DAO and things that other projects that don't have this first mover kind of problems can completely avoid and get into the game without any of these hurdles and owning their IP and knowing exactly how to create easy to verify treasuries and be transparent and all these things. You had to kind of discover all these things while in a war, let's put it that way. So yeah, I see how you're like, yeah, it's timing, but I think that any new NFT collection that wants to transition into a DAO, because it's very different. A DAO that uses NFTs for voting and very different to have a NFT collection that organizes itself as a DAO. There are very different end game goals in these two organizations. They might sound similar, but they are not. And I think the Monkey DAO has taken the harder path to victory, and I applaud for managing to be successful and winning all these little battles, not little, but rather large battles that led you to winning the war. So yeah, props to that. And I think other founders, other NFT communities should take a look at what you've done and how you evolved and how you actually still operate in such high levels at I don't know, in a second year of a bear market, third year for some. I don't know. Oh my! It's very exciting, and I think there's a lot to learn from Monkey DAO. Shall we talk a little bit about the awesome events? What's happening in Breakpoint? Maybe what's happening in with Monkey Point?
Where do you see Solana DAOs getting into the future and the whole Solana ecosystem, the lovely Solana ecosystem?
Sure, yeah, super happy to go with there. So one of like the first Monkey DAO events, I would say, started at Breakpoint 2021. One of our members, Matthias, who is of Acid Dash now, helped set up a restaurant get together, and we were expecting like 20 people in a Discord chat to come together to have, dinner together. And I think this thing ended up running for 7 hours. We went from having, I think 20 or 30 people inside of a Telegram chat to well over 100 members by the end of Breakpoint 2021. So Breakpoint and Monkey events, I think, are always going to have a very special place in my heart for bringing together people inside of the community and the ecosystem, and just getting everyone together and excited and off various different screens and into what I think DAOs really do a good job of, and what NFTs do a really good job of, which is helping to bring people together over shared common interests. So for Breakpoint 2023, right, Monkey DAO is going to be running 3 official events and likely a variety of smaller unofficial side events. Given that this is a relatively congested Breakpoint, there's a lot of different NFT collections that are going to be hosting some great parties. There's a lot of different DeFi protocols and various ecosystem teams that are going to be running initiatives. We understand that not everybody is going to be able to make everything that we do, so we tried to have a variety of different offerings. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is a cruise around the rivers of Amsterdam. That's going to be on the 29th. It's going to be for our Gen 2 holders to be able to sign up inside of a raffle. And it's designed to be an area for people to get to know each other, talk, enjoy Amsterdam, get situated before the conference properly starts. And it's just ideally meant to be a way for a bunch of people to meet up with old friends and get to know some new ones. Our main event is Monkey Point. So it's worked very heavily over by a lot of the members of a sub DAO, Monkey Music, which is designed to be a large scale party with a couple of incredible sponsors around how we can showcase, a fun, exciting night for monkeys in Amsterdam. So that's going to be at the Supper Club on the 30th. It should be a pretty great event. I'm looking forward to it a lot. And then we're going to be finishing the conference on November 2nd with the Monkey Tapas and Drinks event. So this is going to be a also pretty large event. It's going to start with basically like a sit-down dinner style for tapas, where a variety of people are going to be able to eat, communicate, try out a couple of different integrations that we're going to be excited to launch with two of the partners for that event, based around trading and testing out new NFT functionalities. And then it's going to go into basically a blowout evening until the bar kicks us out at 1 in the morning. So looking forward to all of those. Hopefully these are going to be a good mix of monkey events where we can showcase a bunch of the social power of bringing people together. And I'm sure there will be a variety of morning runs, lunch get-togethers, coffees. I think we've got 17 different monkeys who are speaking at Breakpoint so far based on the numbers that we have been collecting. I think it's just going to be a very high energy 5 days. So hopefully every monkey has the opportunity to enjoy it, while we also don't want to conflict with, the Halloween large scale events or all the other things that are also going on. So that should be a quick little overview for the monkey events for Breakpoint.
How do people sign up for the events? Do we find it in Breakpoint under side events? Is it the banana stand? Where do people can check them all and add them to their calendar and try to sign up?
Here we have two that are being set up through Matrica. So if you are a SMB Gen 2 or Gen 3 holder, your Matrica account will essentially have the signups for both the Monkey Cruise event, which is on the 29th, as well as the Monkey Tapas and Drinks, which is on the 2nd. So both of those you'll be able to find through there. The main party, Monkey Point, we are testing through the sidechain ticketing infrastructure. So we're working on that through the bananas that you've been earning through the banana stand over the course of the last little while to be able to redeem for tickets to the event. And once you are signed up, you'll get essentially a free membership to come and join Monkey Point. So looking to do a couple of different opportunities for people based on either area that they want to sign it up. And we're looking forward to seeing whether people want to continue to use Matrica, whether they want to expand on these banana stand capabilities, and just get some user feedback around how these experiences are going for them at Breakpoint.
Wow, good stuff, man. So many events. That's what I love with the Monkey DAO. Other than the, of course, investment arms, building your own governance layer, like everything is going strong, and then you have like so many meetups, so many parties, so many cool events, and then so many cool ways to attend these events. Like the banana stand idea where I'm farming because I have my profile picture and a couple of monkeys. It's just awesome. I managed to get my Monkey Point ticket without much effort. So super cool, super cool. Love it.
Yeah. If by any chance this one comes out before Breakpoint and you are attending, but you haven't had the opportunity to get a Breakpoint ticket, we actually have a few tickets for the Breakpoint conference right now that are live in the banana stand. And hopefully they aren't all sold out by the time that this airs.
Yeah, 8
but
remaining.
If you guys need them,
8
they're there.
8 remaining for only 999 bananas. And I see also you are raffling a couple of tickets for only 50 bananas, which is,
Yeah.
you farmed that in 3 days.
We're testing out not only like the pricing structure for these off-chain points, and for a variety of different ways. So we previously had a fractionalized monkey named Dow Jones that we were using for rewards incentivizations. We're testing out a few different areas and seeing how we can combine these to be a lot of different experiences for Monkey DAO members to test out and to be excited to try.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Athens DAO.
right?
Yes.
I have heard the legend of Athens DAO round two. I need to figure out if I can make that work for the traveling there. I really enjoyed the first one, obviously to be there with my fellow monkeys and to experience it. So hopefully we're able to at least send some delegates or be there myself for Athens DAO this year.
Beautiful. Really, really looking forward to seeing you there and vibing together in Amsterdam. Uh, I know we're gonna talk again extremely soon. So yeah, see you soon, man. Super. Thank you for being here.
We love Monke DAO. It's been one of the top and biggest and most historic DAOs on Solana. And cheers to the future, and cheers into seeing the monkeys around in Breakpoint, in Athens, and all around the world.
Well, thank you guys both for having me, for talking monkey business, and looking forward to seeing you both at Breakpoint and hopefully at Athens now relatively shortly. And hopefully, I think Taki, we wanted to talk a little bit about Bonk, but maybe we can do that in another episode later on in the year.
For sure, let's do a part two. For sure, yeah. We've been enjoying these conversations far too much to stop them. So yeah,
Awesome, man. Thanks. As you see, I'm sporting my monkey always on my watch. So yeah, if you see me on Breakpoint, that's my monkey.
You'll love to see it. Well, thank you guys a ton for doing all this, and looking forward to talking with you again soon.